I'm Mike from the Chesley branch of the Bruce County Public Library. Welcome to a brief tutorial about getting started with manga and anime. All you'll need to follow along is a pencil or two, an eraser, and some paper. For library patrons who are registered for our October Teen Book Box, you should find a sketchbook included inside the box. Our next Teen Book Box comes out in January, so I'd like to invite you to register for that through our website in December. Watch the Bruce County Public Library's Facebook page for reminders and for other information on upcoming library events. Now, I have a lot of drawing experience and I've worked on a couple of animated TV shows, but I had to do a little research to get a better idea of this art form. Fortunately, the library has a great selection of books on different aspects of pencil drawing and specifically on manga. I encourage you to use these resources too to expand on what we do together in this tutorial. These books are all available through your local branch of the Bruce County Public Library. The first in the series are all about manga and go from the basic steps right through to more advanced action comics. The later books in this series are all about drawing skills and will help you with color, shadow, texture, and other aspects of drawing that will help you with all of your artistic exploration. Now, the terms manga and anime are often used interchangeably, and the art form is really similar for both. Basically, manga is the term for comic books and graphic novels, and anime is quite sensibly the term for animated shows and movies. The style originated in Japan, but has become more and more popular worldwide and has influenced artists in many cultures. Now, I've got my drawing tools and paper here, and I'm ready to go. So why don't you join me? So I'm ready to go here with my red pencil for my layout lines. You can use just a lighter pencil or just draw a little bit lighter when you start out. And then I'll have this black darker pencil for my final draft. I just want you to be able to see the layout lines as I go along. So we'll begin by drawing a circle. You can do it freehand as I'm doing here. If you have any trouble with it freehand, it doesn't need to be perfect, but if you're just feeling like it's a bit wonky or you're feeling like being a little more exact, you can get something about the size of a toilet paper tube. That would be good for tracing it. Or anything but that size, cup or whatever. Then we will take a midline here, or make a midline that goes from the top of the circle right through and past the bottom. I'll show you why in a moment. We'll do a horizontal line also right about through the center of the circle from side to side. It can stick out a bit to each side as well. Not a big deal. Those two lines are reference points, which are pretty handy. You'll have, an eye on each side, ears, and things like that. But later on, here I'm representing the same lines, but when your figure turns his head, if you're drawing again some other time, you can see how the lines change, side to side, up and down, and those points help you anchor where the eyes, nose, and mouth will be, depending on the movements of your character. The next thing we'll draw is a line that comes on a tangent, so that's a straight line that just touches the edge of the circle, coming in towards the center. This will be where the muscular part of the jaw, like the jaw muscle at the edge of the jaw will be. It tapers in a bit, and then partway down there, we'll extend the line as well to come almost to a point, a slightly rounded point from each side, and that is the chin. You're ready to go. You've got a fully shaped head here. Next, at the horizontal line, we'll show where the top of the ears will be and the top of the eyes as well. Those are typically lined up in a human face. Just a little below the bottom of the circle is where your mouth will be. A little bit above is where the nose will be. Now the nose is usually pretty small, just kind of a hint in manga, depending on the character you're making again, but for now we'll leave ours small. The mouth can often be very small as well, depending on the expression. It can also stretch like the full size of the face, depending what kind of expression you're trying to make. As for the eyes, they can vary quite a lot in size as well, but they are typically quite large. So you can make just a general idea of a circle here for each eye, maybe a little bit elongated into an oval shape. The space between the eyes is about the same as the width of the eye, and it's about half an eye width in from the edge, depending. That changes, of course, if the face turns, and the midline will be curved this way as well, right? Everything sort of moves along with it. So that's the general layout of the face. The ears tend to be in line almost with the bottom of the circle, sometimes with the mouth. So we'll just put those in. These look a little big the way I've drawn it now, but there we are. So that is the roughed in outline of the face. I'm going to switch now to my black pencil. Since the light in my room right now is coming from over here and casting shadows to this side of the page, I'm just going to do the same thing. We've got the shadow line of the nose is going to be over on this side, darker here, no line there, so it's lighter there. And the eyes will come around. I think I'll do little eyelashes here, though you don't have to do eyelashes. Come in and we can do a couple more. Now manga is a little, almost like a caricature, so you can just hint at some things, and you can also use sort of like almost stereotypical, the eyelashes tend to be a little bit feminine. Longer lashes for even more feminine characters, but it doesn't really matter. It's pretty variable. The key is expressive. Now I'm putting the pupils in here, and with the light coming from over here on the page, I'm going to have a little bit of a reflection in the eye of the light right at the edge of where I'm going to put the iris. I'm doing these circles first because it kind of, that reflective spot kind of transitions across from the white of the eye into the iris. And the iris, of course, is a circle right in the center, and it often has little lines in it, visible to bystanders, the naked eye, whatever. So we'll do a few little lines there just to suggest the pattern in the iris. I'm not going to go too crazy right now. And if you're switching from just a pencil drawing to full color, you might have some other ideas about how you want to fill in those. But I won't be going into coloring this in today. We're just getting the basics down. A little heavier on the lashes, a little heavier towards the outside. I won't do too much shading or anything. You can get into that with some of the other reference material I gave you, or I will show photos of at the end of the video. All of them are available at the library, just to check it with your library card. And there are others that I don't even mention that we do have handy. I'm going to turn the mouth a little bit to one side for just a hint of a smile. And this face is starting to come to life a little bit here. Now the line of the jaw doesn't actually cut right through the ear, so we'll stop here by the earlobe, give it a little bit of shape. And again on this side, if I'm thinking about shadow, I may make this line a little bit darker as well, or even just a little sketchier. Depends how you want to go with that. We could even put a little shadow on that ear. Now, besides the very expressive eyes in manga, the other thing that we see a lot of is expressive hairstyles. Lots of spiky hair, sort of looks like it's flying off in the wind. So I'm going to do something along those lines for this character here. Bit of a part. For anime, it needs to be fairly repeatable, so not too much detail. But a lot of flair all the same. So I like something like that. I'll draw a line for the edge of the head, and this hair is a little bit shorter. But what would stop this character from having also like ridiculous pigtails or something, right? This is a very standing out sort of, again, they look like they're blowing in the wind almost too. Bigger and a little more expressive than you might normally see. Whose hair could stand out like this, but there we are. So here's the beginning of our manga drawing. With a little eraser, we can get rid of some of these layout lines. You can do a little more shading, it'll cover more of that up. Let's see now. You can also leave your layout lines because they give a nice sketchy feel. We'll do a little bit more just to complete it so it's just not a floating head. Let's say a fairly thin neck, which is typical in manga as well. I'm doing it a bit off center. See how it curves in here, and here it's curving outward. And I'm going to continue that, sloping one shoulder and keeping the other shoulder a little higher. Now that gives it a feeling that the parts of the drawing that you can't see are posing somehow. It's not just static. We don't tend to stand just square shouldered. We tend to have a little bit of a tilt to our body, or if we're holding out one hand up in a wave, we might have one shoulder a little higher as well. So that's how I think I'll imagine her. She's got a little collarbone as well. With a sloped shoulder, the collarbone will follow that line as well. So one's going up towards not the very edge, but where the joint in the shoulder would be, right there. And this one would point towards there. I think the shoulder's a bit long. You can make a couple of corrections. The beauty of an eraser is you can always correct mistakes. And I think we'll do something like a tank top kind of shirt on her as well. So it's sloping a little bit down as well. I'll show it just arcing over her shoulder there. Coming across, sleeveless like that, straight down, a little bit higher than her skin, just to give the material a feel of some thickness, and pretty much straight down there. You can work on texture, shadow, and all other aspects of drawing as you see fit. We won't take all the time in the video to make this a finished masterwork, but I'd like to give you just the general idea. So I'll make this shirt a little bit darker here. And who knows, maybe with your character you'll throw in some wings or something. Who knows? A lot of anime goes into fantasy realms, and I'd love to see what you produce. If you send a photo of your sketches to libraryinfo@brucecounty.on.ca, I will check them out and get back to you. I'd really love to see what you guys can come up with, and I wish you all the best in your drawing exploration.